We all think we can handle the dark until it stares back at us. Nothing is more unsettling than a story that leaves more questions than answers. But that's not what we're revealing today. We're diving into some of the creepiest, darkest mysteries that have finally come to light. From gruesome murders and cryptic ciphers to disappearances that haunted families and terrorized entire towns for decades, strap in and let's uncover the truth. The Golden State Killer, Joseph James DeAngelo. For a decade, California lived in fear. Between 1976 and 1986, a mysterious criminal moved through the night, attacking homes and streets with terrifying precision. He entered houses, assaulted families, and left victims shaken, both physically and emotionally. More than 50 women were raped, and at least 13 people were murdered. What made him so frightening was his cunning. He left almost no evidence behind and disappeared as if he had melted into the shadows. Each attack seemed random, yet there was an eerie method to his actions. Investigators were puzzled, chasing leads that went nowhere, while the public wondered when he would strike again. For years, the case remained unsolved, frozen in time. Detectives studied old evidence, hoping for a breakthrough. Then, DNA technology created a new path. Blood and semen from decades-old crime scenes were analyzed and compared with genealogy databases. Slowly, the pieces came together. The trail led to Joseph James DeAngelo, a former police officer who had lived quietly in the suburbs. The Golden State Killer, the man who had terrorized California for a decade, was finally identified and linked to his horrifying crimes. The Zodiac Killer's 340-character cipher. While one of California's darkest mysteries had finally been solved, another chilling story from the same state continued to haunt investigators. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California. He was a shadow in the night, striking randomly and leaving a trail of fear. What made him even more terrifying were the letters he sent to newspapers. They were filled with cryptic messages and strange symbols that mocked the police and dared the public to catch him. Among these, one code became legendary. A 340-character cipher appeared in a letter, more complex and puzzling than anything investigators had seen. For over 50 years, cryptographers, hobbyists, and the FBI tried but failed to crack it. The mystery seemed unsolvable. Then, in 2020, a breakthrough came. A team of expert code breakers armed with computers and relentless determination finally cracked the encrypted message. It exposed a chilling confession. The killer had killed 37 people and brazenly taunted the authorities for their decades-long failure. While the Zodiac Killer's identity remains unknown, the solved cipher gave a rare glimpse into the twisted mind behind one of America's most infamous crime sprees. The identity of Jack the Ripper, Aaron Kosminski. From California, the trail of terror takes us across the ocean to the fog-filled streets of London in 1888. A mysterious figure stalked the Whitechapel district, striking fear into the hearts of residents. 5 women were brutally murdered, their bodies left in horrifying ways. The city was gripped by panic, and no one knew who this killer was or when he might strike again. Newspapers called him Jack the Ripper, and the name became synonymous with fear and mystery. For more than a century, his identity remained one of history's greatest unsolved crimes. Detectives pursued every lead, suspects were questioned, and theories multiplied, but nothing ever pointed conclusively to the culprit. Then, in 2014, a breakthrough emerged. Historian Russell Edwards used modern DNA testing on a shawl preserved from one of the crime scenes. The results pointed to Aaron Kosminski, a 23-year-old Polish immigrant who had been suspected at the time but never charged. This discovery finally linked a real person to the crimes that had haunted London for over 130 years. The foggy streets and shadowed alleys of Whitechapel had kept their secret for generations, but science revealed the identity of one of the world's most infamous killers. The disappearance of Maria Ridulph. In a quiet town in Illinois in 1957, 7-year-old Maria Ridulph was playing outside, laughing and running with her friends, when she disappeared without a trace. One moment she was there, the next she was gone. The town of Sycamore was thrown into fear and confusion. Search parties combed the area. Neighbors asked questions, and the police chased every lead. But Maria was nowhere to be found. Months later, in April 1958, the mystery deepened even further. Maria's skeletal remains were discovered in a wooded area near Galena, Illinois, more than 100 miles from her home. The heartbreaking discovery shocked the community, but it also left them with more questions than answers. Who had taken her there, and why? Decades passed and the case grew colder. Memories faded, clues were lost, and the world moved on. But the mystery of Maria's murder lingered. For over 50 years, nobody knew what happened to her. Then, in 2011, a breakthrough arrived. DNA evidence, paired with cutting-edge investigative techniques, finally zeroed in on a suspect. Jack Daniel McCullough, who had lived in Maria's neighborhood at the time, was taken into custody. He was convicted of kidnapping and murdering Maria Ridulph, closing in one of the oldest solved cold cases in U.S. history. The small town that had waited decades for answers could finally begin to understand the chilling events that had haunted them for more than half a century. The murder of Raina Marro. In 1984, 19-year-old Raina Marro vanished from her apartment. Her fate a tragic and unsettling mystery. The city was shaken by her disappearance, but despite a tireless investigation, the case eventually went cold. Leads dried up, witnesses faded from memory, and the question of what had happened to Raina remained unanswered for decades. Years passed, and her family was left to live with a void of unanswered questions, never knowing what had become of her or who was responsible. Then, in 2015, a shocking discovery changed everything. A new family had recently purchased a property and, while renovating the basement, stumbled upon a 55-gallon drum concealed beneath the floor. Inside were human remains, long forgotten, but preserved well enough for modern forensic science to analyze. The investigation that followed revealed that Raina had reportedly dated Howard B. Elkins, the home's previous owner. Elkins was found deceased from a self-inflicted gunshot wound just one day after being confronted by police about Raina's death. These grim discoveries provided the crucial context investigators needed, finally allowing them to piece together the final moments of her life and bring a long-awaited clarity to what had haunted her family for over 30 years. The mystery that had lingered in the shadows for so long was finally confronted, demonstrating how persistence and advances in technology can uncover even the darkest secrets hidden in plain sight. The Summerton Man, TmC&x case. Turning the page, our story takes us to the windswept shores of Adelaide, Australia in 1948. On Summerton Beach, a man was found lying lifeless, impeccably dressed yet completely unidentified. His discovery sent shockwaves through the community. Investigators could not determine who he was or how he died. Adding to the mystery, a tiny scrap of paper was found in a hidden pocket of his trousers. On it were the words "Tamam Shud," meaning ended in Persian. The cryptic message sparked decades of speculation. Was he a spy, a victim of foul play, or something more sinister? For more than 70 years, his identity remained a puzzle. Generations of detectives and amateur sleuths tried to uncover his story, but the Summerton Man remained an enigma. Then, in 2022, modern forensic science provided a breakthrough. Using advanced DNA analysis, investigators finally identified him as Carl Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne. While the cause of his death is still unknown, this revelation brought long-awaited answers to a mystery that had puzzled the world for decades, proving that even the coldest cases can sometimes be unraveled with the right tools and determination. The disappearance of Amy Billig. In the sunny streets of Coconut Grove in Florida in 1974, 17-year-old Amy Billig was riding her horse one afternoon, enjoying a carefree day, when she suddenly vanished without a trace. Search parties combed the area, police followed leads, and the community was gripped by fear. But Amy seemed to disappear into thin air. For years, investigators were baffled. Clues were scarce, and every lead seemed to end in a dead end. The mystery of what happened to Amy haunted her family and the town for decades. Then, in 1998, a shocking revelation surfaced. A man known only as Branch came forward posthumously with a confession. He revealed that Amy had been abducted by members of a motorcycle gang and murdered. Although her body was never recovered, his account explained the decades of uncertainty surrounding her disappearance. The confession did not erase the pain, but it offered long-sought answers to a case that had left investigators and a community puzzled for nearly 25 years. Amy Billig's story is a chilling reminder of how some mysteries linger for decades before the truth is finally revealed. The death of Wanda Jean Mays. From Florida, the story moves to the quiet hills of Guntersville, Alabama, in 1985. Wanda Jean Mays, a young woman with her whole life ahead of her, suddenly went missing. The community searched desperately. Friends and family hoped for answers, and investigators followed every lead. But Wanda had vanished without a trace. For years, her disappearance remained a mystery, leaving her loved ones in constant fear and uncertainty. Decades passed and the case went cold. Then, in 2003, a hiker exploring a remote cliff made a chilling discovery. Human remains were found hidden among the rocks. Forensic experts took over, and DNA testing confirmed what had been feared for years. The remains were Wanda Jean Mays. Investigators examined the evidence carefully and determined that her death had been accidental. While the circumstances were tragic, the identification of her remains finally provided closure to a case that had haunted her family for nearly 20 years. The Cambridge Ghost Photo. In 2014, a chilling photo taken by a trail camera in Cambridge, New York, captured the attention of the internet. The image appeared to show the faint, ghostly figure of a young girl standing alone in the woods. Social media erupted with speculation. Was it a spirit? A mysterious apparition caught on camera? The photo fueled endless theories, from paranormal experts to curious onlookers, all desperate to uncover the truth behind the eerie figure. As the story spread, the mystery grabbed more attention than anyone anticipated. The community, ghost hunters, and news outlets all clamored for answers, transforming a small-town photo into an international sensation. Eventually, the truth came to light. The girl's grandfather stepped forward and identified her. She had simply been walking in the woods at the exact moment the camera snapped the picture. What had seemed supernatural was nothing more than an ordinary child captured by a tricky angle and poor lighting. The case revealed how easily the mind can turn the mundane into the extraordinary. The vanishing of Elisa Lam. In 2013, 21-year-old Elisa Lam disappeared while staying at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, a building notorious for its dark past. The city was shaken, but despite extensive investigations, her whereabouts remained a mystery. Leads dried up, surveillance footage puzzled authorities, and the question of what had happened to Elisa haunted everyone who followed the case. Weeks passed, and her friends and family lived with unanswered questions, desperate to know the truth. Then, a shocking clue emerged. Elevator surveillance footage showed Elisa acting erratically, pressing multiple buttons, hiding, and making unusual gestures, leaving viewers around the world unsettled and authorities baffled. Shortly after, hotel staff discovered her body in one of the rooftop water tanks, hidden from view and long overlooked. Investigators later determined her death was accidental, likely influenced by her bipolar disorder. This discovery provided crucial closure to a case that had captured worldwide attention, showing how even the most bizarre and unsettling mysteries can eventually be explained. The story of Elisa Lam revealed how easily the mind can turn the tragic and unusual into something seemingly supernatural, highlighting the importance of careful investigation and facts. If you want more spine-chilling true stories and mysteries like this, hit that subscribe button and never miss an update. History was wild, and we've got the receipts, people. Oh yeah, the past must be crazy.